Ladies and gentlemen, forgiveness is the power to choose how things affect you. In a world where anger and resentment often seem like the natural response to hurt, it takes great strength to choose the path of forgiveness. It is not a passive act, nor a mere forgetfulness of the wrongs done to us. It is an active, deliberate decision to release the hold that pain and bitterness have over our lives, to refuse to be shackled by the weight of past wounds. Forgiveness is not only a gift we give to others, it is a powerful tool for our healing, a declaration of our freedom. Forgiveness begins with understanding that we are all imperfect. We are all capable of wrongdoing, of making mistakes, of causing hurt. No one is exempt from this. You, I, and every single person on this earth will fall short in some way at some point in our lives. But despite this, we all have the potential for grace, mercy, and restoration. When someone wrongs us, it is often easy to focus solely on the pain they have caused, the injustice they have inflicted, and the anger we feel in response. It is only natural to feel hurt when we are betrayed, when trust is broken, when our hearts are wounded. But forgiveness asks us to look beyond the immediate pain and to see the bigger picture. That we too have been forgiven, and that we too have hurt others in ways both big and small. It invites us to choose a different way. A way that does not let the wrongs of others define our lives or our futures. Forgiveness is not an endorsement of the hurtful behavior. It is not saying that what was done was okay, that it was right, or that it did not matter. Forgiveness is acknowledging the harm, feeling the pain, yet choosing to let it go. It is choosing to release the power that the offense has over your life and your heart. When we forgive, we take back control over how the hurt affects us. We break the cycle of resentment that keeps us trapped in the past, and we free ourselves from the chains that bind us to the one who has wronged us. This freedom, however, is not an easy gift to give. It requires humility, patience, and often time. We must resist the urge to retaliate, to seek revenge, or to hold on to the desire for justice in our own hands. We must surrender our need to be right, to prove a point, or to make someone else pay for what they have done. This is not an easy thing to do, especially when the hurt runs deep. But forgiveness does not come from our strength alone. It is empowered by something far greater. It comes from a place of understanding that God's grace is sufficient for us all. God, in his infinite mercy, has forgiven us. He has shown us an unconditional love, a love that does not look at our mistakes or our failures, but sees us as worthy of grace. And in that grace, we are called to extend the same forgiveness to others. When we forgive, we are not just setting the person who hurt us free. We are setting ourselves free. We are no longer controlled by bitterness, anger, or hurt. We are no longer prisoners of the past. We are free to move forward, to heal, and to live with the peace that forgiveness brings. You see, forgiveness is a choice. It is a power that lies within each of us to determine how we will respond to the offenses of others. We can choose to let the hurt control us, to let it fester and grow until it consumes us from the inside out, or we can choose to let go, to release the grip of pain and anger, and to walk in the freedom that comes with forgiveness. Forgiveness does not change the past. It does not undo the wrongs that have been done, but it changes how we move forward. It changes the way we see ourselves and the way we see others. There is great power in forgiveness. It is a power that does not rely on the actions of others, but on the strength we have within ourselves to make the choice to forgive. It is a power that transcends our human understanding, a power that comes from a heart that is willing to let go of what has been done to us in order to embrace the peace and healing that forgiveness brings. And in this power we find true freedom. The kind of freedom that releases us from the weight of resentment, the kind of freedom that opens our hearts to love again, to trust again, and to live again without the constant burden of past hurts holding us back. Forgiveness is not a one-time act. It is a process, a continual choice that we make every time we are wronged, every time we are hurt, and every time we are tempted to hold on to anger and bitterness. It is a daily decision to walk in the grace that has been given to us, to choose peace over conflict, love over hate, healing over pain. As we do this, we begin to understand the power of forgiveness more fully. In the end, forgiveness is not just about letting go of the past. It is about choosing how the past will affect our present and our future. It is about choosing to rise above the hurt, to be made whole despite the brokenness. It is about choosing to be free, to live with joy, and to walk in the fullness of the life that God has called us to. So today, I invite you to choose forgiveness, not for the one who wronged you, but for yourself. Choose forgiveness not as a way to excuse the wrongs that have been done, but as a way to reclaim your peace and your power. Choose forgiveness as a step toward healing, toward restoration, and toward the life that God has intended for you, and know that in that choice, you will find the freedom to move forward, the strength to heal, and the grace to love again. Forgiveness is an active choice, not a passive feeling. During pain and hurt, it is easy to believe that forgiveness is something that happens naturally, that it is a feeling we either experience or don't. Many people wait for the emotion of forgiveness to wash over them, believing that one day they will suddenly feel ready to forgive. The truth is, forgiveness is not about waiting for the right feelings to appear. It is about making a conscious decision to release the burden of anger, resentment, and bitterness, regardless of how we feel at the moment. Emotions are powerful forces, and they can lead us down paths we may not want to travel. When we are hurt, it is natural to feel anger, sadness, or even betrayal. These emotions can cloud our judgment and make us think that forgiveness is impossible, or at least not deserved by the one who has wronged us. But feelings are not always reliable indicators of what is right or healthy for us. If we let our emotions govern our decisions, we might hold on to anger for years, allowing it to control our thoughts and actions. Choosing forgiveness, on the other hand, is a deliberate decision. It is a commitment to let go of the emotional chains that bind us to the wrong that was done. It is a conscious act of will, not something that simply happens to us. The choice to forgive might not come easily, and it might not come quickly, but it is a choice we must make. In making that choice, we refuse to be controlled by the emotions that come with the offense. We choose not to allow bitterness to fester and poison our hearts. Forgiveness is also about taking the first step, even when our emotions may tell us to hold back. We might feel that forgiving someone is unfair, especially when the wrongdoer has shown no remorse or made no attempt to make things right. Yet, forgiveness does not depend on the other person's actions. It depends on our willingness to move beyond the offense and to free ourselves from its grip. By deciding to forgive, we take ownership of our own peace and emotional well-being. This active choice also means that forgiveness is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Sometimes the feelings of anger or hurt may resurface, and when they do, the decision to forgive again must be made. It's not about pretending the hurt never happened, but about continually choosing to release its hold on our hearts. Each time we forgive, we reinforce our commitment to living without the weight of forgiveness. Choosing forgiveness is a path to personal growth. It teaches us self-discipline and the ability to control our responses to difficult situations. Rather than being victims of our emotions, we become empowered by the ability to choose how we will react. Forgiveness invites us to transcend the natural urge to seek revenge or to hold grudges. It challenges us to respond with grace, understanding that the power to heal and move forward is in our hands. When we choose forgiveness, we are also choosing freedom. Freedom from the negative emotions that hold us captive. Freedom from the past that keeps us stuck. And freedom from the desire for things to be made right in our way. It is in this active choice that we find the true strength to heal and to move forward with a heart unburdened by the weight of resentment. Forgiveness is a decision that, when made, allows us to step into a life that is defined not by the wrongs of others, but by the peace and healing we create for ourselves. Forgiveness frees us from the grip of resentment and allows healing. Resentment is a silent poison that festers in the heart and mind. It may begin as a small seed of hurt or anger, but if left unchecked, it grows and consumes us. It colors how we view the world and interact with others, often turning our perspective bitter and clouded. Resentment holds us hostage to past pain, and the longer we cling to it, the more it affects our emotional and even physical well-being. It is a weight we carry with us, often without realizing just how much it impacts our daily lives. Forgiveness, however, is the antidote to this poison. When we choose to forgive, we release ourselves from the emotional shackles of resentment. We no longer allow the hurt to control our thoughts, actions, or reactions. Forgiveness does not ignore or condone the wrong that was done, but it releases its power over us. It is not about denying the pain, but about choosing not to let it define us or dictate how we respond to life. The act of forgiveness opens the door to healing. When we forgive, we allow ourselves the space to process the hurt without being trapped by it. Healing doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't mean that the scars disappear, but forgiveness begins the process of making those wounds less wrong. It allows us to move forward with a heart that is no longer burdened by anger or bitterness. As we release resentment, we create room for peace, understanding, and emotional restoration. The journey of forgiveness is also a journey toward wholeness, where we reclaim our joy, our hope, and our ability to love freely once again. Forgiveness does not excuse wrongs, but it releases their power over us. When we forgive, we are not saying that the wrong done to us was acceptable or justified. We are not pretending that the pain we experienced didn't matter or that it didn't hurt. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past or deny the reality of the harm that was inflicted. What it does is release us from the chains that bind us to that past. It allows us to stop carrying the weight of another person's actions and to stop letting their wrongs dictate how we feel or how we live. When we hold on to forgiveness, we are, in effect, allowing the person who wronged us to continue controlling our emotional state. They still hold power over us, even if they're no longer in our lives. Every time we revisit the offense in our minds, we are allowing it to consume us. We may replay the hurt over and over, fueling our anger or sadness and letting it steal our peace. In that sense, the wrong continues to harm us long after the event itself. By forgiving, we are taking that power back. We are choosing to no longer let the offense define us or our responses. We refuse to allow the past to dominate our present and future. Forgiveness shifts our focus from what was done to us to what we can control, our peace, our healing, and our response. It is a declaration that while the wrong was real, its power to affect us negatively is no longer welcome. In forgiving, we set ourselves free from the past and give ourselves the freedom to live fully in the present. True forgiveness reflects the grace we've received and empowers us to offer it to others. When we think about forgiveness, it's important to remember that it is not something we do in isolation or on our strength. As human beings, we all have experienced moments of failure, imperfection, and wrongdoing. Yet we have also been recipients of forgiveness, whether from others or, in many cases, from God. The forgiveness we extend to others is, in its truest form, a reflection of the grace that we have already received. The grace that has been given to us is not something we deserve, nor is it something we can earn. It is freely offered despite our faults, shortcomings, and sins. In the same way, forgiveness is not about the offender's worthiness or about making them earn it. It is a gift. When we forgive, we echo the mercy and compassion we've received. Our ability to forgive is deeply tied to understanding that we have been forgiven much, and as a result, we are called to forgive others. Forgiveness becomes a powerful act of grace when we allow the love and mercy shown to us to overflow into our relationships with others. This act doesn't just heal the one who has been wronged, it transforms us too. By forgiving, we acknowledge that we are not above the need for forgiveness ourselves. It humbles us and shifts our perspective, helping us realize that we too have been in the place of the one who wronged us, needing forgiveness, desiring grace. In choosing forgiveness, we not only reflect the grace we've been given, but we also empower ourselves to be vessels of that grace in the world around us. It is through forgiveness that we create a cycle of mercy and healing, where the chains of resentment are broken and replaced with the freedom of grace. Choosing forgiveness is a pathway to personal freedom and peace. It is easy to become consumed by anger, resentment, and the desire for justice when we are wrong. The emotional weight of holding on to hurt can create an ongoing battle within, taking up mental and emotional energy that could otherwise be directed toward healing and growth. When we choose forgiveness, however, we are choosing to release that burden and reclaim the freedom that comes with letting go of the need for revenge or continued pain. Forgiveness allows us to break free from the cycle of negativity that resentment creates. When we hold on to forgiveness, we allow the hurtful event or person to continue affecting us, even if they are no longer present in our lives. The power of the offense remains active, dictating how we feel and react. This can manifest in bitterness, anxiety, and an inability to move forward. Forgiveness cuts the chain, stopping the past from dictating our present. When we forgive, we make room for peace. The act of forgiveness clears our hearts and minds of the clutter of anger and sadness, enabling us to experience a deeper sense of inner tranquility. It's not about ignoring the pain, but about choosing not to let it define our emotional state. By forgiving, we choose to focus on the present and the future, freeing ourselves to live with the peace that comes from knowing that we are no longer bound by the wrongs of others. Personal freedom is found in the ability to rise above the hurt and to choose how we respond, not based on emotions or the actions of others, but on a deeper sense of understanding and grace. Forgiveness opens the door to living a life that is not weighed down by the past, but is free to eat. Forgiveness is not merely an act of releasing others from their wrongdoings. It is an intentional choice to free ourselves from the grip of pain, anger, and resentment. It is a power that we wield over our hearts and minds, choosing peace over bitterness, healing over hurt. Forgiveness does not erase the past, nor does it excuse the harm that was done to us, but it allows us to reclaim control over how that past influences our present and future. It opens the door to freedom, where the chains of anger and resentment no longer bind us, and where we can experience the peace that comes with letting go. In choosing forgiveness, we reflect the grace we have been given, a grace that calls us to show mercy to others. It is an act that frees not only those we forgive, but ourselves as well. Forgiveness is a pathway to healing, both emotional and spiritual, and it empowers us to move forward, no longer anchored to the wrongs of the past. Ultimately, forgiveness is a choice to rise above hurt, to embrace peace, and to walk in the freedom of grace. It is through forgiveness that we find the strength to let go, the courage to heal, and the wisdom to live fully in the present, unburdened by the weight of past offenses. Forgiveness is not easy, but it is the key to true freedom, peace, and a future untainted by the scars of the past. Embrace peace, joy, and personal growth.